Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let Me Stand Next to Your Fire. And overall, I really enjoyed this episode again. I'm kind of seeing the pattern that we're seeing the collision course going forward with the characters, that they're going to be going towards this dark hold. I think that's going to at least pretty much take up the first half of the season. I don't know if it's going to continue on further, unless when Doctor Strange drops, if that really changes up what's going to be going on magically in the world. So, it started out with Simmons hunting for apartments because it was her day off, and then she's looking to move in with Fitz and all that, and Fitz is stuck at work doing his thing. So, she gets to the appointment place, and at first it looks like there's going to be a sting on her, that somebody's trying to get her. But in actuality, Daisy set it up to get medical attention because she was hunting some watchdog people, and they had shot her up pretty good. So Simmons is pretty much telling her how stupid she's being, and Daisy's being all stupid, not listening to it. It's like, okay, we understand that you want to help Inhumans, but there's got to be a way to bridge the gap between humans and Inhumans. You got to work together for the betterment of all. But Daisy thinks that she can only do it by herself, so that way she doesn't have anybody to get hurt. So she's talking to Simmons about how she's hacked into S.H.I.E.L.D. database and seeing that it's being hacked out from a third party, and that the watchdogs are getting these lists of Inhumans that they're hunting and killing. And of course Simmons is like, well, I've got to go through the proper channels for this, but then Daisy's like, well, what if I force you? So it's kind of left off there. And then we get to see that Coulson and Mac have gone to Robbie's uncle, Eli, to try and get more information out of him. And at first he's not given really any information. He's like, nope, I deserve to be in here. They're doing weird stuff. Just forget about it. Coulson's even like, well, if you can help me, I can help you. Because the person he had the manslaughter charge for is just still in a coma. And that still doesn't get Eli to come forward. So Coulson and Mac are out with Lola. And then Robbie drives up in the Charger, and we get this cool car chase between Lola and the Charger, and it's like, oh, it was a really good car chase with some funny lines and everything. Coulson talking about how much Mac weighs to see if he could go faster. He kind of kicked him out, I guess. And talking about flying and everything, that the flight isn't really fixed on Lola yet, but Robbie's going through. And then it got, hurt because he slammed into the cloaked airplane that they've got, the Quinjet, and it's just like, no, don't hurt the cars, anything. I mean, I've got people hurt in supernatural cars. I don't need any other pretty cars hurt. I'm like, no. But then it was funny because later on they've got Robbie captured, and they've got the car, and the plane's like, huh, not a dent on it. I'd like that superpower for a day or two. Kind of a reference to the Luke Cage that they've got. It's like, yes, do that. That's the kind of stuff that really makes the show better, seeing all this interconnectedness. So, they got Robbie in there, and Coulson's talking with him and asking if he's inhuman. He's like, no, I made a deal with the devil. And he's like, well, Daisy trusts you, and with all this magical stuff going on, whatever. So they talk to him, they're like, alright, talk to your uncle, see if you can get any information, help us stop what's going on, because a woman, ghost woman, like the person that you dealt with, the only person who can kill them, is on the loose. So he's like, alright, I'll do this. So, that's where that kind of ends, and then we see Daisy and Simmons trying to figure out what's going on to try and back the trace. Daisy got this whole complicated thing, and then Simmons just takes it, tells the person to take this, and she's like, well, I'm the boss. So, Daisy's like, oh, okay. So they figure out that they are backtracing it from the wrist devices that the Inhumans have to wear. And that's kind of how they're getting where the Inhumans are and getting into the database. So they go to James, the one other Inhuman that was under Hive's control. So that's where that kind of sets into effect. And then we see Robbie has talked to his uncle Eli. They're kind of having a nice heart-to-heart. They've got really good chemistry together, Robbie and the actor that does Eli. That doesn't seem forced or anything. It seems like they got a good repertoire going. And Eli starts explaining that they wanted to do weird, crazy stuff from this book. And using this quantum machine that shouldn't be doing what it's doing. And then, of course, the accident happened. He lost his cool. It broke him, and he beat the crap out of him, putting him in a coma. And talking about how it was kind of a dark book and all that. That's the information that Coulson needs and Robbie needs. And they're like, what's the plan of action? And it's like, we gotta go after this book. And Coulson's like, well, we gotta take a detour because that's where Daisy and Simmons got into with James. Daisy took off the wrist device that James had, and that, of course, set off for Coulson and Mac to go and do that. So they're going and they're meeting James after hours at the fireworks place because he's got fire powers, and what better place than a fireworks place? So he's got these, he said that he had these things in this storage place. And come to find out, he's been working with the watchdogs because he hates Inhumans and hates what they are and wants to exterminate them. Because he doesn't have that connectedness with Hive, and he's pretty much suicidal throughout the whole, himself and the Inhumans. He wants to be the last one and them to take him out. Which is interesting that they would work with James, an Inhuman, and not kill him, but they're like, well, best way to get the Inhumans. So it set off this pretty cool kind of fight scene between Daisy and Simmons and the rest as they tried to get out and kind of hide, and James is kind of toying with them and all that, and he takes this chain from one of the lockers and is getting ready to use it, and then we see Robbie come in and get it, and it's like, yes, Ghost Rider's got his chain, and he's like, well, what the heck are you doing? And it's like really cool that Robbie goes into Ghost Rider mode, kind of freaks him out and uses the chain, and he's big, and I'm loving how they're expanding on his powers and showing that he can take hits. He's their Hulk pretty much, kind of replacing May's husband as that Inhuman, and it's like, yes, this is what we need for the dark stuff that's going on. So he pretty much diffuses the situation to a point in that he's pretty much taken out James, but the fireworks place explodes. And that pretty much brings Daisy into the fact that Daisy and Robbie are forced to pretty much work with S.H.I.E.L.D. because of the Darkhold that a lot of people, Hydra, Fury, everyone's been kind of looking for. So Coulson's like, this is what we need to do. And he's kind of acting pissed off a little bit. Well, it's not overtly pissed off at Daisy, but that what she's acting about is stupid. Daisy does thank him for helping her, but he's like, well, you gotta help us now. We've gotta stop this, and you two are on the trail, and you're the best that we've got on this. It's like, yes, this is gonna work out well. And the other kind of subplot that was going on was May, Ada, and Ratcliffe. And Ratcliffe was using May to kind of test Ada to see if she would be able to pass as human. And of course, Fitz was working out with it. And it was kind of cool to hear them talking about how May's like, wait a minute, you killed me? I was killed by Ratcliffe? Damn. It's like, May's like, yeah, I was pretty much getting feared to death, but Ratcliffe killed me. Out of everybody, he killed me. It's like, damn it. That was funny. And seeing her kind of like talk with Ada and all that, and kind of the tension of what's going to happen when people find out about Ada. And as Simmons came in after at the end of the mission, and she figured out that Ada was a android right off the bat, and then she's like, oh crap, I got my lie detector test tomorrow, I'm gonna have to lie about a lot of stuff, and it's like, ooh, what's gonna be happening? How will the director react to these kinds of things? What's going on? Because humans, that's been around for a while, they can deal with that. Now we're digging into androids, AI, that kind of stuff with like Ultron, those kind of fears, and now magic of the kind that they haven't really messed around before. And that's gonna be cool and really exciting to see how that kind of interweaves and how these people react and adapt to these threats. So, those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.